eat your lunch. So welcome to Sell Your House with Ease, book written by Chrissie Shirley in conjunction with Gary Douglas, using the tools, Access Consciousness. Sell Your House with Ease. Acknowledgements. The tools presented in this book are from Access Consciousness, which was founded by Gary Douglas. Access Consciousness is about empowering you to know that you know, and there's nothing in this book that you don't know already. My gratitude to Gary Douglas for continuously keeping going when nobody could hear what he had to say. Thanks, Gary, for giving us the possibilities to be more than we ever thought was possible. Gratitude to Keith Littler for his time, expertise, and enthusiasm bringing this book to life so that it can contribute to those people who would like to sell their houses easily. Okay, so here's the foreword. Since this book was conceived and written, the stock market, which some are calling the shock market, has taken a huge nosedive. Many people have lost the value of their shares in what is considered the biggest crash since the stock market of 1987. There have been some interesting developments in America which have affected the global economy. The price of gold has increased dramatically as it is traditionally viewed as both the safest currency and investment in hard times. And there is growing speculation about what is happening with the property market here in Australia. So that's in this post. I wrote this book when I was in Australia. There are always opportunities and benefits in times of crisis. Is it possible that we could be asking, what would it take to thrive and prosper in times like these? Will the value of bricks and mortar hold, increase, or decline? I saw an ad today for the sale of a house. The headline said, "Owner prepared to meet the market." Isn't it time for a different way of looking at things? What if we could open our minds to letting go of our fixed points of view about how we have sold houses in the past? In this book, I've offered ways that do work that are infinitely more effective than the way we have been selling for eons. Very noisy thing over there. Anyway. They don't involve hours of hard work, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on expensive advertising. Is this book ahead of its time? I don't think so. I showed it to Principal of Grace Bernard Realty, Kathy O'Connell, in Pukekohe, New Zealand, and she was thrilled with it. She said, "I always knew about this stuff. I knew there was something around what I was doing, but I had not defined it until I read this." There has been no resource or teaching to help me work out what is explained here. What this book offers is over and above traditional sales training techniques, and there is nothing else like it. So, introduction. This book is not written from the usual place of selling a house, like presentation and making the house look beautiful, baking bread and brewing coffee so the smells permeate and percolate the house. Everything in this book is to show you how to look at things from a different place and what else you can do to sell your house easily. You may find some of the concepts offered here quite unusual, so my invitation to you is to read this from a place of taking from it what you would like and trying some of the ideas. Would you like to experiment and play with some of this stuff and see what happens? Yeah. Would you like to have fun? Good. With some of these ideas. I've been using these tools in all areas of my life, and I learned them from a guy called Gary Douglas. He created and founded Access Consciousness, empowering people to know that they know. What if there were more than just our 5 senses available to us? What if there was more than what we see and what we can hear, more than what we taste and smell and touch by 1,000-fold? What other possibilities would there be to create wealth with selling property that we have never thought of before? Well, some of these ways are offered here for you to consider, and this is just to open the door to what else is possible. Have you ever wondered, why do some people sell their houses easily? Have you ever wondered, why do some people appear to make more money than others? Maybe they are doing something different that even they are not conscious of. if you would like to put some of these concepts into practice, it won't cost you a dime, but you do have to do it. That's the problem with these ideas. They're so simple and so easy that 99.9% of the people who read this book probably won't ever use them. The other thing I would like to give you awareness of is to make sure you don't get vested in the outcome. What that means simply is if you put some of these tools into practice, don't become attached to what you think is going to happen. So when I say that you can sell your house for more money, that is very possible. But please, would you be willing to give up your attachment to the results you're looking for? Would you be willing to ask for the greatest result possible and then forget about it? With any of these tools, if you become attached to the outcome, you actually put up a barrier of energy to the possibility of creating more. And the result will be the opposite to what you desire. So houses have consciousness. Everything has consciousness. If you will talk to everything around you, everything has the ability to assist you in everything you do. Many people are aware that we can talk to trees and flowers and that we can ask them if we can cut them for display in a house.
I do.
Does this apply? And we do. And does this apply to inanimate objects too? What is consciousness? We can look at consciousness as the ability to be aware and receive everything and everyone without judgment. How does a house have consciousness? Access consciousness is based on the idea that everything is energy. The walls of our house look solid. Science tells us they're not really solid, that what you experience when you touch them is the slowness of the molecules and how they have slowed down to create a solid barrier. How does this apply to selling houses? We could ask the things we own what they would like. What if we offered choice and gave up our superior position of I know best and asked, house, what would you like? Would you like someone else to own you? Would you like to bring the people who you would like to own you? Bring the people who would take care of you and love you. What price would you like to sell for? If you would honor your house by asking it what it would like, you are creating communion with your house. This allows the house to present itself as greater than what you think is possible. Ask the furniture. What's that?
These are good. It's good.
Okay, good. And ask the furniture, where do you want to be for the greatest effect? And place each chair so it gives a different view of the room. Do you have gratitude for the people who contribute to your life? Are you aware that when you have gratitude for these wonderful people that they desire to contribute more? Let's just turn that off. Do you have gratitude for yourself every day? Gratitude for yourself makes you feel greater about yourself. I wonder what having gratitude for our house and our furniture would do. Gratitude stops us from judging. Having gratitude for all the fun we've had and the space of creativity the house has provided will facilitate the house to shine. Count the ways in which you are grateful for everything about your house and everything your house is not. Communion is created when we have allowance for everything about it. If you judge that this isn't right or you don't like that, what are you creating with that? Allowance. Let's turn this off. Allowance. What is allowance? Allowance is everything is an interesting point of view. That create a lot of lightness, less solidity, and more space. When people walk into the house, they will notice that they feel comfortable and familiar. When you love something, other people love it too. Okay, so clearing entities. Many people have become aware that some houses are inhabited by spirits. You can bring in a clairvoyant to clear them, but it's easy to do for yourself. Don't make spirits or entities significant. They're just a thought form or a being without a body. They don't harm anyone, but they change the way your house feels, and sometimes they don't want the house to sell. There are many thoughts and ideas, opinions and considerations that people have had that are still hanging around in energy form. Those are the people who used to live in your house. When the house was built, builders experience frustrations about constructing it. The plumber and other tradespeople who contribute to the creation of the house, and various people who have lived in the house have left behind thoughts, feelings, emotions, arguments, upsets, grief, trauma and drama, and all the things that go on in people's lives. We want to clear the house of the entities and allow the house to be clean and light. How do you clear entities? Ask questions. Who are you? Who were you before that? Who were you before that? Who were you before that? And then, who will you be in the future? And then ask, what was your job? And what was your job before that? And what was your job before that? And what was your job before that? And what will your job be in the future? These questions allow them to realize that they are stuck in time and that they have choice and that they can leave. And then you say, thanks, you've done a good job. You can go home now. And they suddenly realize that they can move on and they leave. If you clear entities about once a week for 6 weeks, there will be no energy for them to cling to and they will stay away. When the house is clear, the energy will be an invitation to more buyers. You can clear whole heaps of entities at one time. Ask, how many entities are there here? And it can sometimes be millions. Oh, well, ask, can we clear you all at once? Hopefully they'll say yes. You wouldn't want to be clearing millions of entities one at a time, now would you? I have never found that a problem. They're always willing to find out that they can move on as soon as I start asking questions. It's really an easy process, and houses cleared of entities feel very different. Want to try it? Asking questions. What questions can we ask that will create more possibilities? We have been trained to always have the right answers. At school, teachers asked questions and we had to come up with answers that made us look intelligent. Answers stop us from creating possibilities. For example, if I go around and look at the house and have a point of view about everything, I might say this bedroom is too small. There are only 2 bedrooms, or 3-bedroom houses sell easier than 2-bedroom houses. For every answer you have, you are right. Every answer you have is a conclusion. How do you change this? For every answer, if you change it to a question, you will increase your possibilities of making another $1,000. Every time you notice yourself saying this bedroom is too small, change it to a question like, I wonder what it'd be like for a family who would love the size of this bedroom to show up. What would it take for someone who would like an office this size to come along? What would it take for many people who want a small bedroom to fall in love with the size and shape of this bedroom? What would it be like for many people to want a 2-bedroom house like this? What are the infinite possibilities of selling my house for more money than I think is possible? What would it take to sell my house with ease? Fill the house with energy. Connect to buyers with energy. Imagine you have a pipeline of energy from the universe and that you're pouring it into every nook and cranny of your house. Fill it with energy and release trickles to everyone who's looking for a house like yours and doesn't know it. I know this is a strange concept to fill a house with energy. Sometimes you have to try something to see what happens. Energy is what people are attracted to. It is how we connect to people and how we can connect people to our house using energy. Ask the energy to equalize when people hear about your house or see it on a website or in the newspaper. Prospective buyers will feel as though they have been there before and will feel at ease. You will hear them say things like, oh, this is really nice energy, or I like the energy of this house, or I like this house, it feels so comfortable. I would fill the house with energy every day, and it only takes a few minutes. You can do it anytime when you're driving along in your car or walking to work. When you have a few spare minutes, pull energy into the house and send trickles to all the people who are in the market for your house. Have no expectations. An expectation is another way of stopping energy and creates the opposite of what you are desiring. If someone's expecting you, pardon?
That's the challenging one.
Well, you can just pock and pod them. You can just go pock and pod all those expectations that I have. And then it won't be a challenge anymore. If someone is expecting you to do something, do you know it instinctively? Does that make you want to do it, or does it make you resist doing it? Takes away our choices. When someone is looking at your house, if you be an allowance and have no expectations of what the outcome will be, you will facilitate more possibilities. You allow more space for people to choose. Even when someone says they love it and they're going to bring their whole family to look at it, keep in the space of allowance and the space of infinite possibilities. In sales, we've been taught to have expectations. Is it possible that expectations put people off? If you keep in mind that you will not consider the house as sold until you have a contract that has gone unconditional, would that facilitate the house being sold more easily? Are you aware that if you go out and start looking at other houses to buy before you have an unconditional contract, that you are in effect spending the money before you have received it? Sometimes contracts fall over, and the reason is usually because people have an expectation of the money they are going to receive. It is very effective to have no expectations about the house being sold until it is sold. In this period of time, when you're waiting for the conditions to be met, keep asking questions. What would it be like for my house to go unconditional with ease, joy, and glory? Or you can ask, how does it get any better than this? Don't stop your life while you wait for your house to be sold. Keep creating and ask, what else can I add to my life that would make me happy? When you ask questions, you don't have to answer them. Ask them as a way of creating something greater than you can imagine. I have worked with many salespeople, and I teach them to celebrate every person who comes to the house and doesn't buy. Okay. Ask, how does it get any better than this? And know that there is someone else who's going to come along, and that something better is going to show up. You just don't know when or who or how that is going to happen. When you send out vibrations of celebration into the universe, it is amazing what infinite possibilities you create with this. How does it get any better than this? Yay! How does it get any better than this? Right? Okay, so when you become disappointed if things don't go the way you want them to, you are creating the opposite. You create people not coming to your house by going, oh, woe is me, I'm so disappointed. What if you could see it as another opportunity to make another $1,000? What question could you ask here? You cannot ask too many questions. When you ask a question, you empower yourself. You stop yourself from coming to conclusions, and you facilitate the infinite possibilities. We create our world from our thoughts and speech. A couple of words to eliminate from our vocabulary are want and need, as they create lack. If you say, I want to sell my house, you're creating lack of selling your house. You know that, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And a tool that will assist you to sell your house easily and bring more ease to the rest of your life. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. Said 10 times in the morning and evening, sends out the vibrations of ease, joy, and glory. It is, let's see, read that. Okay, so a downturn in the market. Okay, so we've got downturns at the moment. So house prices in the US have been dropping. In New Zealand, people are saying the market is quiet. As for Australia, in some areas, they're saying that houses are staying in the market for longer periods of time and are not so easy to sell. You hear this being said on the news and in newspapers. Real estate people say it, and the next thing you know is they're absolutely right. What if none of that is true? When everyone agrees with that point of view, does that create that as true? So how do you change this? Would you consider the possibility that you are the source of your reality and that you can create something different? People think that events outside of them create their reality. When you hear people talk about the market, if you resist or react to what they are saying, you will still help to create the slow market.
The flat market at the moment, there's too many houses on the market.
Yeah. So have gratitude for that. Do you get that?
Have gratitude that the market is the way it is.
Yes, absolutely. So when you hear people talking about the market and you know that there's too many houses on the market, what does that create?
Too many houses
What?
on the market.
Exactly. And that's a judgment. So if you have gratitude that there are too many houses on the market, what does that create?
It's happy that there's houses on the market.
It just creates celebration. Yay, there's lots of houses on the market. So isn't that great? More people will come to visit my house because there's lots of people selling their houses. Because what the real estate market trying to do, which I didn't put in this book, what the real estate people try to do is to create lack. They're trying to create lack. They're trying to, create fear so that you'll put the price down further.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So when you hear people talking about the market, if you resist or react to what they're saying, you will still help to create the slow market. You don't stop the people from killing the whales by fighting them. Neither can you stop people from thinking that the market is slow by telling them not to say that. You are just adding to the significance of the energy by resisting or reacting, or by aligning and agreeing with everyone else's point of view. We have bought it, lock, stock, and barrel. How do you not buy everybody else's point of view? Be aware what people are saying is not necessarily true. Stop yourself from resisting and say to yourself that that point of view is an interesting point of view. You can say, everything that I bought from other people about this, I now return to sender. If you feel lighter, then that is what is true for you. We've been buying people's points of view, making them right. If we would trust ourselves and know that what we know is true for us, our lives would be easier, and any house that we wish to sell will sell for infinitely more than we consider possible. The house knows what price it would like to be sold for. Often dropping the price drops the value, and sometimes people think there is something wrong with something that is too low in price. If you allow yourself to not think about this logically and communicate with the energy, you will know what price is a possibility for your house. What would it take to thrive and prosper in these changing times? Play and have fun. I suggest you play with these tools and find out what works for you. Allow yourself to experiment with different ways of doing things. If you always do things the same way, life gets boring and it doesn't allow for the greatest of possibilities. The greatest results will show up when you start doing things differently to what you have done before. The key is to have fun. There is no right way. You can't make a mistake. You can't do it wrong. And you just might make a whole lot more money. About the author, Shirley is an access facilitator who's worked in the area of sales and real estate and has used these tools successfully to increase sales. Sell your house with ease using access tools and processes. If you have a real estate salesperson selling your house and you want to facilitate getting that sold sign on it quicker and easier, these tools will enhance the process. If you'd like to get in touch with Chrissie Shirley, please visit accessconsciousness.com/Chrissie Shirley. If you work in real estate, she would be delighted to show you how to shift your point of view so that more houses will come your way for you to sell. Comments and questions are welcome. It is a pleasure to facilitate people selling their house for more money than what they thought they could get. She says, is there a question we could ask that would facilitate this for you? Would you like to try? What would it take for my house to sell for more money than what I think it is worth? A note to readers, the information presented in this book is actually just a taste of what Access has to offer. There is a whole universe of Access processes and classes. If there are places where you can't get things to work in your life the way you know they ought to, you might be interested in attending an Access class or locating an Access facilitator who can work with you to give you greater clarity about issues you can't overcome. Access processes are done with a trained facilitator and are based on the energy of you and the person you are working with. How does it get any better than what does it get better than this? Let's just turn off that. I'll turn off the recording. There we go.